Okay, I know we'll have some folks hopping on as we get going, but I want to be respectful of our time. Guys, I'm excited today because I don't think we've had Lori on to train ever before. Now, both Andrea and I have known her a long time. I've known who Lori was from the time that I very first got started. And I'll tell you this, if you are one of our more crunchy folks on our team, then you need to follow Lori on Instagram for sure and on Facebook. I was drawn to her story because she has been, for as long as I've known her, like a fellow crunchy diamond, but she truly walks the walk. I don't even know how old you are, Lori, but I know you're older than me, and I'm 47, and she looks incredible. So one of my favorite things about following Lori is that she is a weightlifter. She loves exercise. She's an exerciser for whole body health. She loves eating a clean diet. I mean, she's taken really great care of herself. But here's the thing. She also has been through a lot, and she has a massive organization. In fact, Lori, I hope you share, if you even know, I want you to tell us when you get started how many jewels are on your team, because she's got a huge organization. Her daughter, Amber Miller, and she partner together a lot. And one of the things that they've been doing lately, and this is how she and I got started talking, was they've been doing YouTube lives. Some of you guys have seen them, and I was able to join them. And I mean, they just are stellar trainers. So Lori, I'm excited to have you on. I'm going to let you just go ahead and take it away, and then we'll leave time for questions in a little bit, okay?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that super sweet introduction. So I'm 54, I'll be 55 in September. And definitely like I do walk the walk. I just gotta say, like I eat very clean. I was making kombucha before kombucha was a thing, because, my daughter Amber is going to turn 34, and she remembers, as a child, like we milked our goats, we raised our chickens, we had our garden, we did all the things. And actually, I started teaching fitness classes when I was 15. And, Becky's right. Like I have a very, lot of trauma in my childhood. My dad was super abusive. Both my parents were disabled, and they both had cerebral palsy. And and I'm sharing that with you because there's a lot of things that we can tell ourselves about why we can or cannot succeed in this business. And we just had that mastermind with Henry Cloud, and Henry Cloud is amazing. Okay. And he highlighted an important aspect of this business, and that is the community portion of it. And so if you don't feel like you're equipped or you're complete in of yourself, then you are in the right industry, because we 100% partner together. And he was talking about the value of community and support and how important that is. And he just said he loves this business model because, we pull together, and it isn't something where you have to be everything to everybody at all times. And so Plexus found me at a place where I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 25 years, homeschooling my kids. And we were in a very conservative church environment, really, really restrictive, actually, for a super long time. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair or wear makeup or jewelry or pants or socialize really much outside of like our very small circle. I had 136 friends when I joined Plexus on Facebook. I cried the day my first grandson was born because I did not know how to post a picture without my daughter's help. And I was so excited, and I really wanted to post a picture, and I felt so inept, like on social media. And 2 years later, I was, rocking a jewel business. So if you also have in the back of your head that you don't have a social media following, or you don't have the skills, And this is very much a learn as you earn type of business. So when I first started the products, my daughter Amber introduced them to me, and she was really nervous to introduce them to me because I'd been so into health and fitness, and I'm a researcher. Like I'm crunchy because I love everything connected to the human body, because it makes so much sense and so much logic. And it's kind of like putting together pieces of this beautiful puzzle. And it really points to, a creator and the intricacy. And so that's why I love it. And so I've always loved it. And so when she told me about Plexus, she said, tell me, she was taking it for her allergies. And she said, tell me if this is going to kill me, but if you can find something good with it, please find something good with it, because it's working for me. And Mom, you find something wrong with everything. And so if you're a mom and your child tells you you find something wrong with everything, what's the first reaction you're going to have? You're going to be defensive, right? And you're going to be like, I don't find something wrong with everything. I will prove to you that I do not find something wrong with everything. So I'm so grateful that it is my daughter that brought it to me. I'm grateful for the way she said it. I would be so sad if I was not standing in the position that I'm in right now, because I'm very grateful for it. So I might have been one of those annoying people that you have to follow up on forever and ever and ever. But we literally had a wrestling match with a mason jar like this of Slim going across the kitchen counter, back and forth with it sloshing over the side, because she had mixed it up for me. And she said, you said it was okay for me to take it, so I want you to take it too. And I was like, I'm not going to take it. Like, I don't need to take it. I'm glad it's working for you, but I don't need to take it. And so she said, just please take it for like 3 to 5 days, please. So by the third day, I loved it. One of the issues I had struggled with is, for the first time in my adult life, I'm not naturally thin, but I was kind of struggling with my weight at that point. And I'm into fitness, so I was still working out really hard, but I was losing some of the joy of it because I wasn't recovering as quickly. And that's because I had my last 2 children 13 months apart. I put on weight with that last one. You cannot call it baby weight anymore when your child is 7 years old. And that's where I was. And so I think I was in the beginning of like premenopause, something was going on. So by the third day, I was sleeping better at night. I wasn't craving my coconut flour healthy treats that I was having way too many of. And so I started to feel better. I've been into health and fitness because I've had to baby my digestive system my whole life as well. I was noticing some relief in that area. Long story short, I've lost 40 pounds. I've kept it off over this entire 9 years. I don't have digestive issues anymore. I love how our products work. If you guys ever want me to tell you about the anti-aging benefits, like, it's amazing. Acromancy is a beautiful thing. That's one thing that we increased dramatically. It's been referred to as the fountain of youth. I wish everybody knew this, because it's so super valuable. So that's kind of my product story. This is funny how I got in the business. So think about this when you're talking to people. Events build your business, 100% for sure. So my daughter, and Elizabeth Spoon, who is now Diamond, like, she's got us under her, she's got Brooke under her, like, she is killing it. I knew her as a 15-year-old. And she told Amber the whole time, we just need to get your mom signed up. We need to get your mom signed up. So they were both 23. They had this little plan. It was going to be get me signed up. Because even though I only had 136 friends on social media, I had some friends in real life, and they were trying to go after like the older people market because they thought they were really, really young. And so she tried to get me to an event that Sonia Dudley was doing in Linden, which is a teeny, tiny, tiny town in Tennessee. And she invited me to go to that event. And I was like, okay, I'll go. I had no intention of doing this as a business. I had people bring up different network marketing businesses to me in the past, and they had done it in a way where I'll give you this story. Okay. So my only sister, this was my experience with network marketing. My only sister, my only sibling was in my home. She died in my home. From the time she got cancer to the time she died, it was 11 months. I was doing hospice care. We had hospice coming in and helping. And this woman was talking to me about her network marketing business, and she was talking to me about making money. And I was trying to tell her, I'm taking care of my sister, and my sister is dying. And she wasn't listening to me. A really good thing that she could have said to me is, well, I know you're passionate about health. You're probably very upset that your sister got cancer. Maybe we can talk in the future about ways that you can make an impact on people to be healthier. That would have been something that I would have listened to and been open to. But what she kept talking to me about is money. She was like, you need to make money. Don't you want to make money? And so I finally had to tell her, I don't want to make money. She was like, you don't want to make money? I was like, nope, I don't like money. I don't have any interest in money. And she was like, okay, bye. So that was my experience. But so Amber was trying to get me to go to this event. I liked the product. I told her, I like the product. I will sign up for your thing, but I'm not doing this as a business. And she said, just go to this, Mom, like, please, please. And so I said yes, and then I forgot. Then I went grocery shopping at Whole Foods, and she called me and she was like, Mom, please, the meeting's right now. And I'm like, well, I'm like a half an hour away. And so she said, I was only going to catch the last 15 minutes. And I was like, I have groceries in the car. It's hot outside. I don't have a brush. I've had the window down. She met me in the parking lot. She brought me a brush and traded cars with me and took my groceries home and put them in the fridge. And so she did anything she could to get me to this event. I listened to the last 15 minutes of a training meeting that Sonia Dudley was doing, and it just clicked. And that's the same way I started homeschooling. I had no intention of homeschooling. Somebody got me to a homeschooling meeting. I end up homeschooling. So events build your business, whether they're online or in person. Do whatever you can do to get a person to an event. And part of my training is going to be about how to develop business builders. So she got me to that event. I just dialed in on Sonia Dudley, and thank God she answered all my questions. I think I'm like her level 7, but she went back and forth with me, and the rest is history. I got a strong vision for the business. I was convinced if other people were making a lot of money, because I understood the product line and what it did, if other people were making money, I was going to make money too. So when people say, how did you grow so fast? Because I got to Emerald in 6 months, Diamond in 11 months. It was because I led with the business, like 100%. And so I had somebody at Gold that I was coaching that ended up leaving, quitting, resigning from Plexus, tell me, when I was giving her a lot of coaching ideas, tips, how to grow her business, she said, that is very easy for you to say as a diamond. And I told her, I recruited you as a silver. And what did I say to you? I told you this was an amazing business opportunity and that I was going to make a lot of money with this business. I wasn't making a lot of money at that point or at that time. So I cast a big vision. Everyone I talked to, I told them, this is amazing. And this is still how I recruit business builders. This is amazing. This is super profitable. The reason it's very profitable is because these products are awesome and people need them. And this is a moneymaker, and you should really take a look at it. And so I had one friend, she told me no, she wasn't going to do it with me. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to get the Lexus and you're not. And she said, okay, gosh, I'll do it with you. So that was kind of the way that I approached it, is very, very strong with the business. So the reason I grew so quickly is I got Business Builders my first month. So Fallon is my level 1. Kristen Abart is my level 1. And Fallon gave me the wrong email address, you guys. She said she was being polite. But I followed up. I was like, hey, did you get what I sent you? You know, why aren't you signed up yet? Like, come on, let's go. So I was super, super confident, even brand new, okay, knowing nothing. I didn't even know how the compensation plan worked until I was almost Sapphire. So this is how you build a business. And so training wise, how do I recruit business builders? I use events. How do I don't start with talking about, would you like to get your products paid for? The reason I don't do that is because that would not have appealed to me. And let me back up one thing. When I said I was going to go diamond, and you guys think about this for yourselves, okay? I knew that I'd done hard things in my life. Like I knew I'd given birth to children. Like that's very hard, you know? I knew that I taught my kids to read. The things that I knew about myself was no matter how long this took me, I would learn. You know, I understood failure. I understood that you have to fail in order to grow and learn. And I was willing to fail no matter how many times it took me. So I am Sapphire on my second position. I'm not diamond yet. So that's like, if you look at your children, if you have more than one, they're all just a little bit different, right? So everybody's business journey is just a little bit different. Do I have doubt that that Sapphire leg will be diamond at some point? No, I do not have any doubt, because I love this business and I love developing myself. I love learning and growing. I love working with people. I'm never going to quit. Like if I'm not diamond on that position 5 years from now, I will know exactly why. Okay, that's the other thing. That's something that we learned in Henry Cloud. What people fail to do is, I loved what he presented, and this is something that I did in my business. So I hung on every word that Helen and Sonia said, because I had nobody working above me. My daughter was not working at that time. So anything they said, I went with. They told me about income producing activity. And they said how many reach outs you have to do every day, how many follow-ups, how many posts, how many everything. I got this form that was like this old form, and it was a weekly form where you recorded the amount of reach outs you did, the amount of follow-ups, the posts, everything. I would date it for the week, and I had a little post-it note, like those little yellow post-it notes, and I would do tally marks for my reach outs and my follow-ups. So I made sure I did the reach outs, I made sure I did the follow-ups, I made sure I kept a record of my weekly work. I filed those. And the reason I filed those is because I was like, if I don't achieve my goals, I want to be able to go to somebody and show them my work and say, this is what I did. What do I need to change? You know, and he said, Henry Cloud said, that's a step that people fail to do. They develop a strategy, but then they don't go back and analyze their strategy. They don't work on, you know, what it is that they're actually doing. So we're doing a Jewel School for our team right now, and this is the first week of it. And I have someone that I'm working with, and she sent me something last night that basically said she didn't do any reach outs. She didn't do anything. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm so excited. Like, because I want this for you. And this is the information that we need, you know, so analyzing what you're actually doing is super, super important. So getting back to developing business builders, you want to lead with the business. I do not care if you are brand new. Like if you, people, it's kind of like your health testimony. I have a girl that's lost 75 pounds. I have a doctor that I'm working with. So she's my senior Ruby. people don't care that the doctor is the doctor. People don't care about the girl that have lost 75 pounds. They care about themselves. That's it. It's the same thing with the business. Okay, I didn't have anybody working above me. I didn't care about that. I cared about myself and the event that I went to and what I saw, because that connected to my own dreams. So that's the thing that you want to be able to do. You want to be able to connect a person to their own dreams. And the way that you can do that the best is through an event, through a third-party tool. So I train my people, reach out with the business. You know, there's sample messages galore everywhere. The next step is send the event. That's the thing you're doing. Do you mind if I send you something to take a look at? I would love for your feedback on it. Usually events work, you guys. They work, okay? And so very quickly, once they're like, yeah, this is exciting, this is great, you want to move from that point to getting them signed up as quickly as possible. Lately, I've been using the verbiage that Genevieve gave us, which is, okay, awesome. Well, it's kind of hard to talk about products that you don't have any experience with. So let's figure out which ones will be best for you and get your order placed. So you switch from business to products, customizing that welcome pack towards their goal. And then you start working on traditional get to silver steps. Okay. I match the person's vision and the pace that they're willing to give me. Like I ask them, how many hours a week are you willing to work? And I start to work on their why. And just like that book, Get Over Your Damn Self says, I ask them, okay, you know, when you run into roadblocks, how do you want me to talk to you? Like, what do you want me to remind you about? Like, what's your why? Because there is going to be a learning curve here, and I want to match you in that. And so they'll say, you know, say this to me, say like, do you really want to go get a job outside the home? Like, people have to have a why and a vision. The last business event that we did, we had Emily Lohert on. And I remember when she started this business, she did not want to send her second child to daycare. She was pregnant when she started. That was a huge why. Okay, so she was willing to do anything and everything while working a 40-hour-a-week job. And so some of what goes into developing a business builder is on you, and some of it is on them. You know, so I watch people's feet, I work with people, I get their whys, I get emotionally invested with them. But if they don't show up to things and they aren't willing to send me a form, like my one friend just sent me, telling me that she's not doing any reach outs, you know, like I'm always completely honest with them about what it is that they're doing in terms of how they're going to reach their goals. I'm supportive, I'm nice, I will hang in there with somebody forever, but I'm not going to get stuck in management mode and thinking like, okay, these people are the people that are going to get me to my goal. I'm constantly in recruitment mode. And so on that second position. But anyway, so that's kind of it. And we can open it up for questions and answers.
That's great. Guys, I want you, don't wait. If you've got a question, just jump in.
I have a question, and yes, I'm in my row. So was there, because I know there's a lot of people I know on my team too, that I love your story. I love that you started with the fact that you're like, hey, I had a lot of trauma and a lot of stuff that could have clouded your mind or made you discouraged when you were doing this. Was there ever a time in your journey to diamond, or, you know, now in your journey to diamond, sapphire, or diamond, double diamond, that you had to overcome like some mental roadblocks? Because I think a lot of times, you know, I'm an action girl, so I don't get too hung up in like discouragement and stuff like that. I do some other stuff wrong, but I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I just can't do what she's done. She's already into fitness and she knows all about this and all about that. Was there ever a time when you felt like major discouragement? And then what did you do to kind of get over that and keep on going to develop business builders?
Okay, well, in the beginning, so I'm kind of introverted. And so I'd say I had a lot of mental stuff. Like when I went to convention first and all of that, I just kind of was a wallflower. I didn't know what to do with myself or for it or anything like that. So there were times like I told myself, you don't belong here. Like, who do you think you are? But I used, and I still use, like my internal passions to fuel me. I know how to get myself in the right environment. So if I'm feeling that way, I will, listen to a YouTube or listen to somebody's stories. I've really worked on my why. And my why does make me cry. If I tell you guys my why right now, it will make me cry. I don't really want to cry right now. So, but I know why I'm doing this. And like, I understand the psychology behind feeling that way. And did I feel that way on my journey? Yeah. Do I sometimes feel that way now still? Often, often. And so that's what I tell people. Like, I'm a 7-figure earner, and I tell people paycheck doesn't make a dang difference. Like, the issues that you have right now, they're just going to be different when you have the paycheck. So you better get used to it because you only have 2 choices, right? Like, your choice is hang it up and quit and let whatever that mental obstacle is rule you, or continue on your journey and succeed. Like anything in life, like you can feel discouraged as a spouse, you can feel discouraged as a mom, you can feel discouraged in all sorts of ways. And so, yeah, I definitely have moments. I just know how to get help. Is that an answer to that?
Oh yeah. Cause I was like, I know a lot of people get hung up, like the working full time and trying to work your plexus business. I did that so that I really identify with that. But, a lot of people were like, I just don't know if this is going to work. It works for her because she got in earlier. It works for her because she already was in the fitness thing. So I like to hear like, okay, when you get those roadblocks, you go, okay, I need to go listen to something to kind of reset my mind, or I need to go reach out to people, or I need to invite people to an event. So there's a discouragement point, but then you're like, okay, here's what I need to go do to keep that rolling.
Yeah. And for me, like getting in early, we have new diamonds. Like we have people with rocking businesses. So just forget that. And I was into fitness, but I still was home churching, not 136 friends. I wasn't teaching any classes or anything. I just have always been an avid workout person, but I was overweight. I wasn't losing weight. Like I was, introverted, all the things. Yeah. So.
Okay. I have 2 questions, but mainly just because I know your story. One, in the last 9 years, you've had some life-changing events. First of all, can we just acknowledge the fact that Lori may not have skipped over this, but she has a 34-year-old daughter, Amber, who we can all follow and fall in love with her life on the farm. But when she started, she had a 7-year-old too. So, right? Is that what you said, Lori? Yeah. Like, because I think you have 2 older kids that are like married, that have, I think, kids. And then I know Amber does, obviously.
She's a grandmother. Lori's a grandmother.
Yes. And then she has like teenagers that she's still like managing life around. So let's just like different seasons of life. But I would also say that in the last 9 years, your life is taking a huge seasonal turn just in your own personal life too. So how did you continue to work when like personal life could very easily, and not only personal life, but high level producing diamond teams underneath her? So she could have been like, peace out, I'm done. I'm just going to collect a check and let this continue to produce. So she's still growing a business. But also you said that at one point Amber was, really doing like family stuff and farm stuff and wasn't like a huge upline support probably. And y'all were kind of doing this together. So where did you tap into to decide I'm going to be the leader I need to be for Kristen or for Fallon or for all of, massive amounts of teams outside of those two? So two things. One, how did you manage lifestyle, like upheaval, while still managing a massive team? And how did you decide I'm going to be an incredible leader to a massive team, whether or not my upline shows up?
Okay. I'm still navigating that. And because I do have like a really massive team. But there's been a lot of leadership development that's been done. So I'm not, they're just my friends now. Like we're just peers and we just work together, and I support, wherever I can. How did I navigate life? Well, that's one of the awesome things about building a residual income business is when life happens, because I also went through a very difficult divorce. And I still showed up for my business during that time, because my business, it's like, I like working my business. Like it's happy. I love personal challenges. I love needing to grow and develop. I don't love how it feels sometimes, but I'm not a person that quits. But have I ever had to take like personal days or personal time? Yes, but I'm appreciative for what I've built. And so I feel like when you've built something, you need to be a good steward of it. You need to be a good steward of the opportunity that you have in your life. And you also need to be a good steward of what you've built. And I know my why. So if you don't know your why and you've never really dug into it, there's a book called Millionaire Success Habits. And he has something he calls 7 layers deep on your why. And why do you need to know your why? You need to know your why because you are self-employed, okay? You control your own time. And I'll tell you guys, this is an example of how hard I worked in the beginning to build this business. I walked into Ross 11 months after starting as a diamond. And in my mind, I was like, whoa, I'm in Ross. Like, it was like I could have been in the spa, because anything had been homeschooling my kids, keeping my house straight, working my business, trying to work out. I had 0 personal time. I thought I was on a race. When I started my business, I thought anybody and everybody is going to do this. Like California is going to be saturated with diamonds. There's still like 3 or something. So, and so I just thought I needed to hurry. So when I walked into Ross at 11 months, I was like, I took a breath. Like, I was like, okay, like I'm going to enjoy myself right now. But before that, I hadn't. And so I was so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of this residual income that I feel like it's such a blessing. I so appreciate the people that I work with. I so appreciate and value the opportunity that when I am going through personal struggles, I feel like it's my responsibility to try to, get myself in the place where I can still show up for others. I don't know if that answers, does it?
What it answered, I think the biggest thing is that you took personal ownership, personal responsibility. And everything you said, there's no blame game, but there's also no comparison. Like you have an incredible team of so many top level leaders. Like when we talk high caliber people, like Lori, her daughter, Lori, the people, like if I just keep going up from them, the people
Brittany,
like
Howard, Christina, Wendy.
But then you go down. Yeah. Shelly Nisley, like so many high caliber people up and down in the organization. And everything I would say for all of those people is personal development and personal responsibility. Like there's personal development of like, I'm going to get better at the things that I'm lacking in, or the things even that I'm good in, I'm going to get better at them. But then personal responsibility of this is my business. This is why I'm doing this. I'm showing up every day because of this, not because Lori did or didn't show up, or because Amber can or can't show up, or even because Brittany Howard is busy today. It doesn't matter. I'm literally showing up for myself in my business. And I just, like what I just kept writing down, everything you were saying was personal, like accountability, but taking personal responsibility for all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And gratitude fuels that. Like, I'm very grateful. And we kind of all worked on personal development together. Like, we did all the John Maxwell, Kristen Abart, Kristen Love led a lot of that. And we just all did it together.
I have a question. You said that you were an introvert and that you had that you didn't have a lot of social media, friends, and that all of that. How did you expand your network is one of the questions I have, is like, how have you continued to expand it? And then also, what are some things that you've done to attract high caliber enrollments?
Well, because I believed in the opportunity like immensely, I created a list and I added to that list all the time. I knew where I was going. So I was looking for people that would want to go with me. And in my mind, everybody should have said yes. Okay. And I have some stories of people that said yes, and then their friend said something to them about network marketing and they dropped off. I have one person like that. She doesn't have any social media. I went to a workout class recently and she's like, hey, I saw her, I haven't seen her for a long time. She was one of those people that was like, no, can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, are you still doing that plexus thing? And I was like, I didn't tell her anything, but I was like, yeah. And how do you like me now? I could have, but I was just so confident that it was easy for me to look for people. And when I say confident, I mean like internally confident. I knew what I had. And so I would look for people, that I once again hung on everything Sonia and Helen said. Like, if they said it, it was golden, and trained it to everyone. But they said, look for people that had work ethic, some sort of spark. And spark can be different. Spark doesn't have to be loud, but somebody that has a little bit of oomph, okay? And somebody that has influence of some sort. My influence was because I'd been consistent in my life. So people didn't see me as flighty, so that was my level of influence. Was I an influencer? No. And then people that had emotional maturity. So people that aren't going to go off the rails. But if you talk about Fallon, she will share this part of her story. She got removed from groups a lot because she was at the time not exhibiting a lot of emotional maturity. And she was stuck at gold. And the thing that was hard for her, because she was stuck at gold for quite a while, is I had to do the scary thing. Okay. She told me, I went over her retention and everything with her. And I was like, well, how did this person, I was going through her back office. Well, what about this person? She was like, yeah, they got off the products because of this. And I was like, well, did you say this to them? And she said, I don't care about their results. I don't care anything about their results. I just need to make some money. And so I had to say to her I was afraid. I was like, if I say this to her, because she's feisty, she's going to tell me off and hang up. And I don't like conflict. I'm deathly afraid of conflict. I hate conflict. Okay. I've gotten better at it, but I hate it. And so I very scaredly told her, the issue is you. Because she was like, I don't know about this business. And I was like, it's that right there. You don't care about people's results, and you're only caring about whether you make money. And so I gave her a list of books to read and then hung up the phone. And she said she was so upset. She didn't tell me off, thank God. But she said she was very upset, and she went through a little period of getting upset. And she shares this all the time. And then she decided to go ahead and read the books and work on herself. So she didn't have she wasn't the most emotionally mature, but she wanted this. And she was in a culture of belief. And I think that's very, very important, that culture of belief. I don't understand people not in a culture of belief. Like that, if that is one of the biggest changes that you want to make, you got to make it in yourself, but you want to make it in everything that you surround yourself with as well. But she started working on herself, and then she recruited a few strangers, and she had a level 1 that was Brittany Howard that we had spent like tons of time talking to, and also her sister, who's a jewel, Courtney. And she was always like, if I could just get Brittany to do the business, if I could just get Courtney to do the business. I had funny conversations with Brittany about why she wasn't going to do this. So she recruited a stranger that she met at a garage sale, and that was Tiffany Wilson. And Cody. She recruited Cody Helmer and Tiffany Wilson. She started working with them on building their business because of their reason. She forgot about her team or making money. Like, she forgot about that this was her business. She was focused on them because they were runners. Before she knew it, she's Ruby, senior Ruby. Then all of a sudden, her sister decides to work, and so does Brittany Howard, because they saw other people succeeding, those new recruits that she had. And so, so personal development can happen with people that have those other qualities, but don't have the emotional maturity. But it's important. Like, you have to develop that part of you.
I have a question. You're talking about how you had such strong belief and confidence from the beginning. How? Like, what spurred that? Is it just something, your personality, or like the products? You said, you knew what you had and people needed it, but what gave you that like gusto, no matter what, to keep not only the belief in the products, but in yourself?
Okay, so I don't share this part of my story sometimes, but this is one of those things of like pulling from anything that you've ever succeeded in your past. I feel like it's really important. Childbirth is one of them. Successfully teaching my children to read is another one. Pull from your good experiences. So one of my experiences is when I was 17 years old, I answered an ad in the newspaper, and it said that I was looking for a job, and there was like Kentucky Fried Chicken, Jack in the Box, make $300,000 a year. So I was like, that one, and so I went to this meeting, and it wasn't network marketing. It was actually selling mutual funds, and it was a pitch, and you had to pay $700, and you were going to get trained for 12 weeks. And then they were going to sit you with a phone book, and you were going to make $300,000 somehow. So I paid the $700. I went through the 12 weeks, kind of like I hung on everything Helen and Sonia said. There were 2 trainers, Dave and Karen, and they told me exactly what to do. And they told me, and I said I was 18. Okay, at that time, you could do that. I passed the securities exam, and I started going through their course. So Dave and Karen said, you're going to have a lot of people tell you no, but you just have to keep going. But expect people to tell you no. So I ended up making $100,000 as an 18-year-old a year. And the reason I did that is because I had college graduates in there with me. They had us set up at like 8 by 11, like those fold out tables with metal chairs and phone books and phones. And we were literally calling through there, saying what they said for us to say. People start dropping off like flies. Like, these guys that were showing up in their suits, like, they just wouldn't come back. And I'd be like, that guy quit. And then like somebody would tell me he's going to quit. And I'd be like, why? And he's like, oh, it's really hard to have people tell you no. And I was like, but Dave and Karen said they're going to tell us no. We have to keep going. And so I was coachable. That's another thing that you need on that list of what you want. I was very coachable. So I went to Dave and Karen like over and over again. And I was naive enough to believe what they said. And it worked. And so I ended up marrying my first husband and being a stay-at-home mom. But I had that experience in the back of my head. So for 25 years, I did not work. And you guys have to know, I was in a very conservative environment. I did not have a lot of exposure to other people. I didn't watch a movie. I didn't listen to secular music. Okay. Like Sean, my husband, he's like, have you ever seen this or heard this? Or what about this song? I'm like, nope, that's in my blackout period. So, but what I did have is I had the remembrance of what happened with Dave and Karen. So when I sat in that meeting with Sonia and she was coaching the people, some of the questions that people were asking, because it was the tail end of a training meeting, were very similar. They were like, well, this person told me no. Well, this person told me that they were going to do the business and now they're not. And I was like, oh, I've been here before. And so I pulled on that experience. And that's what I said, like, I'm not going to be like those guys in the suits that dropped off. I know it's going to be the last person standing that's going to win. So I am going to be here like however long it takes me. And the reason I don't like to share that story is because automatically your brain is wired to create an excuse for yourself when you look at somebody else's story. But that is not the case. I mean, I was 17 to 18. All I did was get trained and not quit.
Who else has a question? Like I texted Andrea and Ellen and was like, I'm dying. I could ask 50 questions myself just because I know your story and I know your team. Let me ask this. Let's say, because you've got so many examples of like, I think Fallon is a perfect example. By the way, guys, Fallon, it's Fallon Black. Actually, it's Fallon Black. No.
Reeb.
Fallon Reeb. Thank you. Okay. Fallon also went through a divorce, got remarried. Okay. On her YouTube channel, she talks about this. She talks about her season of being uncoachable. And I just think about Lori. I think it says so much about Lori that she pulled her out of chats and was like, no, you can't infect like other people. And anyway, and then Fallon got to a place where she was just done and went through so much growth. So I love that story. But also I wish people could understand just what all has happened through your life, what you've hung in there for. And you talk about just not wanting to quit, being a part of a culture of belief, and how important that is, always building with the business. So let me ask you this. Let's say you've got someone today, a new recruit, and you know that there's a ton of potential. What's the first 5 things you're going to do with them?
I'm going to have them make their list, and I'm going to go over their list with them, and I'm going to help them send out messages. I'm going to get them plugged into the team, our team page. I'm going to make sure they know about the team calendar. Tell them to get me in 3-way chats. I have a Calendly link. So if they have people, but I tell people, okay, this is one thing that's really important for developing business builders is follow that flow. Like I do not let them set up a Calendly link with me, with their business builder, potential business builder. I will ask them, have you sent them an event? Have you got them signed up? In that case, if those 2 things are done, then they can book on my Calendly link. But yeah, I just get them in action right away. Tell them about convention. We have a book club that we're doing. I just get them hooked into all the things.
And then what I heard you say earlier is just talking about how you don't want to manage people. So you're not begging people to do this. If they tell you they want to do it, you're going to lead the way. And then you're going to trust that they stay consistent and do what you tell them to do, is what I heard.
Yes. And then we have a sheet. Like, for example, I have one person that she turned in her sheet. She's done 30 reach outs last week, but she doesn't have any signups. And so I'm immediately scheduling with her to look over the messages that she has sent out. And in that case, if she ever sees this, poor her, but she's going to know exactly who she's talking about. She's the most enthusiastic person, 100%. I know that she definitely can do this business, and she's highly coachable. When I looked at her messages, I was like, those are not the messages I told you to send out. So, so I very quickly try to get in there and figure out, what is it that they're doing? What areas do they need help with? And so one of the things I'm going to do with her today is go over her messages with her. And we're going to try to salvage some of those reach outs that she did and teach her a better flow of messaging. So that's how you can stay out of management mode. And just know, you guys, that sometimes people, especially with me, like they'll say, I don't want to let you down. So then they don't share with me what it is that they have going on. So the faster you establish that they share with you their actual activity, the better.
I love that. Thank you. I know I told you like maybe 20 minutes, we'll see. I think we could I could ask you a lot more questions.
Okay. Whew, that was long. Okay, sorry.
No, we loved it. I loved it. I really appreciate you. I just want to say too, I think it says a lot about your team and your team's culture. Like Andrea talked about, just the legacy upline and then the legacy downline. You guys heard Lori say that she really hung on Sonia and Helen McFadden's trainings. And she said, I think you said your Sonia is like level 7, And so I just want to remind you guys, like, you need to be inspired by people to keep your cup full, and then you need to be lifting your leadership lid by doing a lot of personal development. And if you don't quit, you can reach your goals. I mean, that's really the biggest difference between Lori and the person she described under her who left at gold, was just that Lori wasn't going to quit. So yeah, I am so grateful for you, Lori. Thank you big time. And we will, I'll share this recording with you once we get it posted. And guys, thank you. Just a reminder that tomorrow night at 8:30, you can go to our calendar and see the calls for the week. I know Ellen is doing an opportunity call on Wednesday night. And then on Thursday night, we've got the Real People, Real Stories calls. So if you have not loaded up your March calendar, start there. People with events on their calendars don't quit. Okay. Again, thanks, Lori. Thanks, all of y'all. I hope you have a great Monday.
Thank you.